So whistleblower, what the fuck is that? Whistleblower who got, well, let's say this, documents were released. I got the documents right here. Which basically shows that the FBI was using sort of some counterterrorism tools to investigate fucking parents. And this is what, for example, the whistleblower showed. You have this letter. It says on October 4th, 2021, the Attorney General forwarded a memorandum addressing a spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff. And they said the U.S. Attorney, in coordination with the FBI, it directed them to convene meetings with federal, state, and local tribal and territorial leaders in each federal judicial district within 30 days of the issuance of the memorandum. We share an obligation to ensure all individuals are able to do their jobs without threats of violence or fear for their safety. This can only be accomplished with effective coordination internally between relevant divisions and through effective coordination and engagement with our law enforcement partners in the United States Attorney's Office. As a result, the counterterrorism criminal divisions created a threat tag, EDU officials, to track instances of related threats. We ask that your office apply the threat tag to investigations and the assessments of threats specifically directed against school board administrators, board members, teachers, and staff. The purpose of the threat is to help scope the threat on a national level and provide an opportunity for comprehensive analysis of the threat picture for effective engagement with law enforcement partners of all levels. So basically what's happening, or what happened, is that, people finally woke up from the matrix, or got plugged from it maybe a little bit, and started to see the government for what it was, and public educators and public school systems for what they actually were. And that's indoctrination camps. You had this critical race theory shit going on and all these other topics, stuff they showing off your kids. So people became more vocal and more involved, particularly parents. Now, again, I'm of the opinion that you should get your kid the fuck up out of there. That's what I advise. But, some of y'all are still hell bent on having the enemy educate your kids. That's a topic for another discussion. But let's discuss what's happening there. And that's that parents started to become more involved. And now the FBI fucking wanted to get involved and is using the same counter terrorism sort of tactics that they would use in the event, I don't know, someone was suspected, or groups of people were suspected that they were going to do some fucked up shit to a bunch of people. Now, these whole instances of violence or threats are flaky. All it is a bunch of adamant parents and people that are associated with public schools, be it school boards, feeling some kind of way because folks are paying more attention to what they are doing to their children. This is getting people effectively labeled as terrorists. Now, I want you to think about that. How on earth could you, wanting to be more involved in your children's education, this is a serious question. How could they see that as terrorism? How could they possibly view that as some sort of terroristic threat because you say, I don't want that shit, you to be teaching that nonsense to my kids? It all starts with this simple fact. The state, and I'm using that as the territorial monopoly on use of force, violence, and ultimate decision making, feels as if they own your kids. And the threat is not a threat of violence. It's not a threat of some sort of aggression. The only threat there is to their power to do such a thing, an indoctrination. Like I've said before, I've said this many of times. These people understand that if they lose control of these school systems, which unfortunately so many people thought had to exist and were legitimate, the state educating your kids, if they lose that, they lose future generations. They're gone. They can't. That's not to say that there won't be a bunch of brainlets that walk around and zombies. Yes, they will exist. But there's not going to be a case of folks just voluntarily dropping their little children off, not head-ass kids off to the enemy. People are paying more attention, and that's thankfully so. Now, I want the whole system delegitimized, but people are at least paying attention, and now they're voicing their concerns. And now the state has told you that you're a fucking terrorist. Now, yeah, they'll gaslight you. They'll say things are happening that aren't happening. Oh, it's just threat of violence here and all of that. No, it's just a bunch of people, parents in particular, that are more vocal than what they had been in the past. And you don't like that because it's a threat to your power. Think about that. The state is calling you as parents terrorists. Quasi, I guess. Maybe not directly, indirectly. Or we're just applying counter-terroristic methods. They're calling you terrorists. And the terrorists are calling you terrorists. Rich. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.